Hey everyone, welcome to the show. The channel. This is great. I'm so excited you're here. Have you ever wished you had a little bit of a superpower? Not like flying or invisibility, though that would be cool. Like the power to get people to see your side of things, or to feel more connected, or just to understand what makes people tick. It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But what if I told you these little superpowers are totally real, and you can start using them, like right now? It's all about understanding a little bit of psychology, these little quirks in the human brain that are just waiting to be discovered. It's fascinating stuff, really. Today, we're diving deep into some mind tricks that are so simple, yet so effective, you'll be kicking yourself for not knowing them sooner. We're talking about techniques that can help you in a job interview, on a first date, or even just trying to get your roommate to finally do the dishes. It's like having a secret playbook for human interaction. And the best part? It's not about manipulation. It's about better communication and connection. My name is Albert, and welcome to Unknown Facts. We've got a lot to get through. 12 incredible tricks that are going to blow your mind. I'm telling you, some of these are game changers. So get comfortable. Maybe grab a notebook, because you're going to want to remember this. And hey, while you're settling in, if you like what you see, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel out, and I'd appreciate it a ton. Let's get into it. Alright, first up, let's talk about something that feels, well, awkward. Silence. I know, my whole job is to fill the silence, right? But trust me on this. Have you ever asked someone a question, and they give you a short, not-so-great answer? Your first instinct is probably to jump in, rephrase the question, or just start talking about something else to avoid that weird, empty space. But what if you just didn't? What if you just held eye contact, nodded a little, and stayed completely quiet? It feels like an eternity, but it's probably only a few seconds. What happens next is pure magic. Most people are incredibly uncomfortable with silence in a conversation. It creates a social pressure, a void that they feel compelled to fill. So they start talking again. And this time, they're not just repeating themselves. They're elaborating. They're giving you the details, the real story, the information you were actually looking for in the first place. It's an incredible negotiation tactic, a fantastic tool for interviews, and honestly, a great way to get a deeper understanding of anyone you're talking to. Think about it. Okay, next up is a classic. It's called the foot in the door technique. The name says it all, right? Imagine an old-timey salesperson literally getting their foot in the door so you can't slam it shut. It's a little less aggressive than that, I promise. The idea is simple. If you want someone to agree to a big request, you start by asking them for something really small first. Something so easy and trivial that they'll almost certainly say yes. Let's say you want your friend to help you move your entire apartment. That's a huge ask, right? They're probably going to groan and make an excuse. But what if you first ask, "Hey, could you just help me lift this one heavy box into my car?" They'll say, "Sure, no problem." They just agreed to help you with moving. They've established a pattern. Now, when you ask later, "Hey, you were such a huge help with that box. Could you help with the rest of my stuff on Saturday?" This next one is something you might even be doing without realizing it. It's called mirroring, and it's all about subtly copying someone's body language to build a connection. I'm not talking about full-on mimicry, like if they scratch their nose, you scratch your nose. That would be creepy. Don't do that. You'll look like a weirdo. It's much more subtle. It's about matching the general vibe, the posture, the gestures of the person you're with. The science behind this is fascinating. It taps into our brain's mirror neurons. These are brain cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we see someone else perform that same action. They are fundamental to how we learn and empathize. Okay, what is the sweetest sound to any person's ear? No, it's not the Roots starting a song, it's their own name. This next trick is so simple, so obvious, but I guarantee most of us don't use it enough. Using a person's name in conversation is like a little psychological magic wand. It instantly makes people feel seen, valued, and important. Dale Carnegie, the legend himself, said, "A person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language." He wasn't kidding. When you first meet someone, make an effort to remember their name. Repeat it back to them. "Nice to meet you, Sarah." Then, try to sprinkle it into the conversation naturally. Instead of saying, "That's a really interesting point," Remember the foot in the door technique? Well, get ready for its wilder, bolder sibling, the door-in-the-face technique. It sounds aggressive, but it's actually just as clever. This one works in the complete opposite way. Instead of starting with a small request, you start with a ridiculously large one. You ask for something so big, so over the top, that you fully expect the other person to say no. You want them to slam the metaphorical door in your face. Wait, why would I want someone to say no? I hear you asking. Because the no is part of the plan. Let's say you need to borrow $20 from your friend. Instead of just asking for $20, you go big. You say, "Hey man, I'm in a real jam. Could I possibly borrow $200? Your friend is going to be like, "Whoa, dude, $200? I can't do that, sorry. That's the door slam." "Oh, okay, I totally understand." "Hey, well, would you be able to spot me just $20 then? That would still be a huge help." Suddenly, $20 sounds like nothing. Now this next one requires a little bit of finesse and social awareness, so listen closely. It's the power of touch. And I need to be super clear here. We are talking about a light, appropriate, non-creepy touch. A brief touch on the arm or shoulder. Studies have shown this time and time again. A waitress who lightly touches a customer's arm when giving them the check gets a bigger tip. Why does this work? On a very basic level, an appropriate touch signals warmth, trust, and connection. It momentarily breaks down personal barriers. Of course, the context is everything. This is not a license to go around poking everyone you meet. You have to read the room. A light touch on the forearm or shoulder for a second or two is generally considered safe in most Western cultures. Have you ever seen an ad that says limited time only or only 3 left in stock and suddenly felt a desperate urge to buy that thing, even if you didn't really want it a second ago? That, my friends, is the scarcity principle at work. It's a powerful psychological trigger that says people place a higher value on things that are scarce and a lower value on things that are abundant. When something is perceived as rare or limited, our brain immediately thinks it must be more valuable and desirable. This principle is everywhere in marketing and sales. Think about concert tickets for a popular band, limited edition sneakers. But this isn't just about shopping. You can use this in your own life. Let's say you're a freelancer trying to land a new client. Instead of saying, "I'm available whenever you need me," you could say, "I have some availability opening up in my schedule next month, but it's filling up fast." Let's talk about first impressions, but for numbers. This is called the anchoring effect, and it's a cognitive bias where we rely way too heavily on the very first piece of information we're given. That first piece of info, the anchor, influences all subsequent judgments and decisions. The classic example is in pricing. Imagine you walk into a store and see a leather jacket. The first price tag you see says $1,000. You think, "Wow, that's way too expensive." Then you see a big red sign next to it that says, "Now on sale for $400. Suddenly, $400 seems like an amazing deal, a total steal. But if you had walked in and the jacket was just priced at $400 from the start, you might have thought, $400 for a jacket? That's still pretty pricey. This isn't just for shopping. It's huge in any kind of negotiation, especially for salaries. Whoever says the first number in a salary negotiation often has the upper hand. If a company asks for your salary expectation and you say $70,000, you've just set the anchor. This next one sounds completely backward, but it's a proven psychological phenomenon. It's called the Ben Franklin effect, and it says that if you want someone to like you, you shouldn't do them a favor. You should ask them to do a favor for you. I know it sounds crazy, right? The story goes that Ben Franklin had a rival legislator who really didn't like him. Franklin wanted to win him over, so what did he do? He heard the man owned a very rare and curious book. So Franklin wrote him a letter, praised the book, and asked if he could do him the great favor of borrowing it for a few days. So what's the psychology behind this? It's all about cognitive dissonance. That's the mental discomfort we feel when our beliefs and our actions are not aligned. It's a brilliant way to build rapport. The key is that the favor has to be small. Don't ask someone you just met to help you move. That's just annoying. Ask to borrow a pen. Ask for a small piece of advice. Okay, this one is all around us every single day. It's called social proof, and it's the idea that we as humans are heavily influenced by what other people are doing. When we're in an uncertain situation and don't know how to act, we look to others for clues. Think about it. You're walking down the street looking for a place to eat. You see two restaurants side by side. One is completely empty, and the other has a long line out the door. Which one do you assume has better food? The one with the line, right? That's social proof. This is the principle behind customer reviews on Amazon, follower counts on social media. You can leverage this in your own life to be more persuasive. Let's say you're trying to convince your team at work to adopt a new software. I was talking to the team in the marketing department, and they've been using this for a month and have seen a huge increase in productivity. Or, industry leaders like Google and Apple are all starting to use this type of platform. This next one is for all the leaders, parents, teachers, and coaches out there. But really, it applies to everyone. It's called the Pygmalion effect, also known as the Rosenthal effect. It's the fascinating idea that our expectations of other people can actually shape their performance. In other words, if you expect someone to succeed, they are far more likely to succeed. And if you expect them to fail, well, they're more likely to fail. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The name comes from a Greek myth about a sculptor named Pygmalion who carved a statue of a woman so beautiful that he fell in love with it. In a famous study, researchers told teachers that certain students in their class were intellectual bloomers who were poised for great academic growth, even though these students were actually chosen at random. What happened? By the end of the year, those randomly selected students showed significantly greater improvement in their IQ scores than their classmates. If you're a manager and you believe your team is talented, innovative, and capable, you will treat them that way. You'll delegate important tasks, trust their judgment, and encourage their ideas. All right, last one. And this one explains so much about TV cliffhangers and why you can't stop thinking about that one thing you forgot to do. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. The principle is that people remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks much better than completed tasks. Our brains don't like open loops. They crave closure. This effect was discovered by a Lithuanian psychologist, Bluma Zeigarnik, who noticed that a waiter in a restaurant had a perfect memory of all the unpaid orders, even complex ones. But the moment the bill was paid and the task was complete, he would completely forget what the table had ordered. The unfinished task stuck in his brain, so how can you use this? Well, it's a fantastic tool for capturing and holding attention. It's the reason why TV shows end on a massive cliffhanger. Who Shot JR? It's also a great productivity hack for procrastination. If you have a big, daunting project you don't want to start, just commit to doing a tiny piece of it. Just open the document. And there you have it. 12 mind tricks that honestly feel like superpowers. From the power of staying silent to the magic of using someone's name, these aren't about manipulating people. They're about understanding people. They're about building better rapport, communicating more effectively, and creating stronger connections. Psychology is an amazing thing, and these little quirks in our brains are what make us so interesting. I hope you found these as fascinating as I do, and I hope you try some of them out. Start small, maybe with the foot in the door, or just trying to use someone's name more often, and see what happens. It's incredible what a little bit of knowledge can do. The next time you're in a negotiation, or a meeting, or even just chatting with a friend, you'll have this secret playbook in your back pocket. You'll start to see these principles in action all around you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today on Unknown Facts. I had a blast. If you had fun too and learned something new, please do me a solid and hit that like button. It really helps a lot. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next deep dive into the amazing and unknown. We have so much more to explore together. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.